Grace Murray has never stopped knitting. Dave Murray has never stopped helping her knit. They've been married for 69 and a half years, and Grace will tell you theirs is a true partnership. She knits, and he solves all the problems. Small, medium, and large, which has been his lifelong mantra. The point is, he says, the point is to solve the problem, not create one. So it is with the hats. In 1992, they embarked on a very particular journey, by boat and by design. Grace remembers how it all began, when she accompanied her friend and neighbor, Janet Stanley, to Bath, Maine to visit a yarn shop. There she met a book. Not just any book, a special book called Andean Folk Knitting, Traditions and Techniques from Peru and Bolivia. Written by Cynthia LeCount Samaki, who had discovered this highly evolved Andean art form in the shape of a cap while traveling in the remote mountainous villages of those two countries, and who eventually became Grace's mentor and one of her most cherished friends. Grace was enchanted and fascinated by this traditional expression of wearable native folk art. I've knit since I was 6 years old, she said, all kinds of complicated stuff, but never anything like these intricate designs. She thought it would be great fun to master such complicated stitches. And she knew if she ran into trouble, Dave would bail her out, as always. So she returned to the shop, bought 8 different colors of yarn and the needles in time for their summer habit of cruising the coasts of Maine and Nova Scotia aboard Ladybug, their 25-foot sloop, a Swedish folk boat. Soon enough, to Grace's delight, fog socked them in, and they had several days with nothing to do but knit. But wait, the design was so complex, she couldn't knit and read the pattern at the same time. How fortunate! The captain of the vessel was Dave, who was ready to rescue her. The fog cooperated, rolling around them long enough for him to read the instructions aloud over and over and over, yet again, until Grace had memorized the stitches. The sun did come out. Dave went back to the helm, and Grace continued knitting, just as she's done for every one of those 30 years they've sailed the summer away. And now, here we are, 25 years and 319 hats later, although I've learned that hat number 320 is already on the needles. All evidence of Grace's seemingly limitless artistry and true grit, and of Dave's inventive, artistic mind. For instance, Grace discovered the sewing needle she used to weave in all those loose threads once she'd knitted the cap, threaded more easily on one side than the other. But what a nuisance, not knowing which side each time she took up the needle. Dave went out to his workshop, filed a flat edge on the needle, ensuring instant identification. That problem was solved. Another time, in the very early years of Peruvian hats, Grace found she needed a way to dry the skeins of wool she washed before rolling them into a She needed a place to hang them out of reach of 4 rambunctious sons, as well as a very large, lion-sized marmalade cat named Willie. Dave designed a miniature clothesline like the old-fashioned ones that resemble an inside-out umbrella, which he suspended from the ceiling beam. Grace attached the dripping yarn to the apparatus with clothespins, and those skeins dried in record time. Very few of her hats have been sold. They prefer to give them away as gifts to family and friends. Their generosity is well known. Over the years, they have regularly donated a hat to various nonprofit Cape Ann organizations and groups, such as Lanesville's SOS project, Save the Shack, and the Anscombe Village Church's annual online auction. To bid and win a Grace Murray hat is a coveted prize. The hats hanging behind me, I call them a garden of flowers, and those displayed in the Folly Cove Designers Gallery upstairs are a testament to Dave and Grace's creative partnership, as well as their huge circle of friends and family. Can you imagine having this many friends and family? While those of us who wear them, we realize we are members of a very privileged and instantly recognizable fraternity. There's a magic about Cape Ann in the way it seems to attract prolific creativity. Grace and Dave Murray are part of that continuum. Grace's sister, Louise Kenyon, was a Folly Cove designer. Grace found her voice in knitting these dazzling Andean hats. And just as the Folly Cove designers did in their day, she has raised what some might call craft to the level of art. I just don't want this tradition to die out, she says, as she takes up her ball of yarn and needles once again. And aren't we glad?
Thank you. Bill's idea, as much of this wonderful day is. So Jill collected strands of yarn that Grace uses and had this wonderful wreath made with flowers, which I'm going to clump over.
My name is Tika Lipka, and I am very proud to have been welcomed as a good friend into the Murray clan in 2001. Christmas, and Grace knitted me a hat, it's not this one, and another hat for her son, who was my boyfriend. Everyone welcomed me. Curtis, if you don't mind me saying, said to me, "Now I know she likes you because she gave you a hat." She took a picture of us at the breakfast table first thing, and even though this was 15 years ago, I still did not look great in the morning, and my hat was on, and I was like, don't ever show this to anyone. I gave that hat to Curtis, and he had the turquoise blue one that he wore to death, and I'm working in the cold, and then he got another one, a new one years later, which he gave to me, so I proudly wear it. I am so proud to be, known to you people. You are the greatest people, such a wonderful, wonderful family, and bless you all, and all the saints, and everyone in heaven's looking down on you, Grace. We love you.
You want me to start? Or you?
Yeah, no, Grace is our aunt, and your sister, Anne, up in Nova Scotia, just wanted to make sure that we gave you a big hug, and she wanted to know that she was thinking of you, so, yeah. And, we're so proud of you.
And we love our hats, of
Yeah,
course.
So, That's it?
Hi, I'm Sandy Kenyon and my late husband Paul's sister, Louise, Follicoat designer.
I'm just gonna adjust
And
that.
I'm usually loud enough, but Grace, Murray's sister. Anyway, I've written a little something, ode to her hats. There are beanies and berets and toppers of silk, helmets and caps of every ilk. Mortarboards and miters have a certain flair, as do 10-gallon hats the cowboys wear. Hoods and scarves can cover your hair, but the finest hat you'll ever see is the one Grace Murray made for me. There are boaters and trilbies, sombreros and tans, warm furry hats from the wool of lambs, busbies and crowns of royal domain, oilskins and sailor hats to keep off the rain. But the finest hat you'll ever see is the one Grace Murray made for me. Davy Crockett's cap from raccoon pelt, fedoras made from the finest felt. There are yarmulkes and veils and Panama hats, sunbonnets and derbies that went out with spats. But the finest hat you'll ever see is the one Grace Murray made for me.
So when I was contacted by Jill to, pass over my hat, I said, I don't like this idea. Because in my hat, I have a little piece of Fat Face's hair. So it's a real special hat for me, and I wasn't going to let anybody take it. But I'm happy to be here for you, Grace. Got Port Starboard lights on it, too.
Nice. Very good. So Tom forgot to mention the design on the hat, which is his ship. So it's his vessel. My vessel is on my hat as well, and it was featured in the front. I hope everybody took note up front when they came in to see my hat, because it's a very special hat. The ship is 92 years old, and I think Dave might even be older. I'm not quite sure. But it's a wonderful hat. Thank you, Grace. That's amazing.
I used to sing next to Grace in the church choir growing up, and she was one of the people who helped me learn how to sing harmony. And she made. I'm Mary Helen Gunn. Thank you. Sorry. And this hat is the hat that Sophie had when she was little. We needed a size bigger now. Is the challenge for this one, but put a gusset in it. So I remember being told that Grace kept track of her rambunctious sons on the ski slopes because she could always find them wearing these hats. And I just love that there's 319 children of yours out wearing hats. Your tribe is bigger than you may know. In Washington, D.C., my mom was just reminding me of this story on the way over. In Washington, D.C., about 20 years ago, I was there at one of these big marches, and somebody was wearing one of your hats. And I don't remember who it was. If you're here, raise your hand. But I went up to them and I said, I think Try again. The tribe of Cape Ann is always findable, right, in the big wide world. If you're wearing one of these hats, don't plan to be anonymous wherever you go. Thank you.
I don't know how Grace distributed them, because I was told I was one of the first 35. Did you just knit 35 and then start distributing them to your children and family and friends? Did you knit 35 hats before?
35 hats, and then strung them up on the beam, and the family chose them for Christmas.
That was the first distribution.
And then I went to 5 different families, and on Christmas afternoon, and by the end of the day, they were gone.
Well, thank you, Grace.
I'm Kate Banks, and you don't have my hat hanging up there because when Grace gave it to me, she said, "You have to promise you'll wear it." And I will wear it. My husband Deacon and I sailed the coast of Maine and had the pleasure of learning how to play cribbage from Grace and Dave. That was exciting. And I feel honored to have my hat because I thought that you had to really be special. It took a long time for me to get my hat, and I really appreciate having one. Thank you, Grace.
So, Grace, I don't know you, we've never met, and I don't own one of your hats, obviously, but I've been wanting to meet you ever since a few years ago. I went on a fiber adventure in South America, and when I was in Peru, it was led by Cynthia LeCompte. And
Introduce yourself, please.
Oh, I'm Natalie Simon from Lanesburg. And as Cynthia and I were talking, I said I come from Gloucester, and she said, "You're from Gloucester, do you know Grace Murray?" She makes these wonderful chulos. And I said, "No, but I know the Murray people who roam around and all of that." And she just extolled your virtues and told me I just had to meet you. And I've been wanting to ever since, so I will shake your hand and say thank you for all you do, and I love your hats. And I visited a village where they make these, and it was a wonderful experience. So anyway.
I'm cousin Ellie and Grace's niece, and I'm lucky enough to have my own hat and what was my mom's. And it has to be blue, as you can tell, and it has Thunderbirds, and I just think it's lovely. I don't think I look lovely in it, but I will put it on. I'll say it makes a great ski hat, and otherwise, and so I'm very proud to have them, and I keep them on view in my house. I like to hang them up where people can see them, so I can talk about my Aunt Grace. Thank you.
I'm speechless. Grace is Helen Garland. When I came here in 1978, we bonded over not only her children, but her knitting, and she loaned me, there's a microphone, and she loaned me, or gave me, book after book after book about knitting. So I'm wondering, why am I the only person in Gloucester that doesn't have a hat? I know where it is, because she taught me, literally, how to knit, not necessarily using patterns. So I began to make up my own designs, and that's because of your mother. And I'm 91, and I didn't hear it. Has she given her age?
39.
Tom Ellis's mother is 93, and she's sprier than I am. I can't believe it. So I just love everything that's happening today, and I think this is really Gloucester.
I'm Leslie Lind, and I am an owner of a hat, but I'm also the owner of a special gift that Grace gave me. She and I went to the Essex County Needlework Guild, and I learned varied and amazing ways of getting back to Gloucester from Topsfield, no two the same. So we would go all these ways, and she has, you may not know this, she has a fabulous sense of direction. I'm not getting me lost.
Grace's son, one of four, and I wanted to mention that I noticed Tom's hat. It had the Landon on it, and Dad helped with the directions and everything, but he also helped Mom with the patterns. When they would do a sailboat, there's a ladybug there. The Landon was Tom. She's done a lobster boat. She's done I had a dog when I had the hot dog stand that used to swim. He would run up the street, run down the yacht club gangway, through the dining room, onto the floats, and dive in to get to that floating hot dog stand. And evidently, that promoted her to making a hat for one of my children with Nicky the dog on it. Dad used to help her with all these patterns. He was very artistic himself. And every time I go, I go to the house quite often. And every time I come in, there's Mom knitting away, and it goes back to my head. Idle hands and the devil's workshop. That may have a little bit to do with my composition. I don't know. God, what a knitter, and what a mom, and what a dad. And, grateful to be here, and thank you all so much.
I'm Carol Murray, Grace's daughter-in-law. Known her since I was 23. And I just want to say, John and I and our daughter Alex, when she was 5, we went to Nova Scotia to visit Anne, her sister. And Anne was, and her husband, but Anne was sitting there and she was knitting or weaving. And she said, please don't tell Grace, she'll think I'm lazy, that I'm not working. And I said, Grace, I said, Anne, Grace is on the boat knitting. I said, that's what she does all summer. And she said, oh, good, you made me feel so good about that. I don't know if I ever told you that story. But I'll never forget the first Christmas, and it was true. She strung all the hats up, and my brother-in-law, Steve Murray, grabbed the one I wanted. And there was nothing I could do to get that hat away from him. So I got a beautiful hat too. And then years later, I got another one with the colors that Steve has. I had his first hat. But anyway, I wish I could knit. This is her legacy. I feel so grateful to the Cape Ann Museum. I feel like for honoring her because she's amazing.
How much more wonderful can it get than to see Grace wearing that coronet? And I told Grace, this is all your fault. And so, willy-nilly, look out. I had to write an epic. Oh, God, it's great to see all you people here. We are all so fond of Grace, and this is a testament. So excited. This is called, of course, Amazing Grace. Being recognized is ne'er a worry if you wear on your head a Grace Murray cap, or as Grace calls it, a hat. For no matter where on earth you're at, you'll be instantly recognized as wearing the headgear most highly prized. Yea, what happens any place we go, someone shouts out, it's a Gracie! And although there's been many an imitation, still no attempt at recreation has come even close to the real thing. What philosophers call das Ding, an sich, which Grace achieves stitch by careful stitch in ways which have never, ever been replicated, which is why her hats are rated high as those Andean mountains that rise over Bolivia, deep as the dyes that so mesmerize our eyes. Each strand so perfectly enlisted, and after every few stitches twisted to bring more warmth through more density. You'd need a Homer to sing the immensity of this latter-day epic that hangs by a thread. And I hope you allow yourselves to be led back to the Odyssey, where the weaving of Penelope, slyly deceiving, held suitors at bay for 20 years, her nimble fingers awash in tears. But here the analogy ends. In this case, her husband David was granted his grace throughout. 'Twas he came up with the mall's head that kept the spinning balls of yarn from rolling all about the room. And 'twas he, without a doubt, devised that elevated triangle from which clothespin caps would dangle, toasted by the wood stove's heat, to a perfection so complete that legend has it that those who wear these caps can feel radiating through on the coldest nights, I swear this is true, warmth rising from the residue of the thousandfold fires that kept ever burning as Grace's fingers kept twisting and turning to rescue again and again from oblivion works of art Peruvian and Bolivian, now restored forever through the gods' plenty of caps uncapped off at 320. And to go on with this halcyon yarn, Jaggers I'll repeat that. And to go on with this halcyon yarn, I've Jagger spun, let me warn. You I could reverse stitch forever in 8 colors and still never come close to what circular size 2 needles in Grace's hands can do. Nor can I replicate in my rhyme how Grace, harking to David, one step at a time, came to learn the intricacies, the elaborate interstices, to the point where she had them so to heart that again and again, from a standing start, she could make his knit 7 and take back 6. Meld, take back 6, meld gracefully into a seamless mix that's allowed her to have set in motion figures from the land and the ocean in a bewitching and bewildering variety that pleases children and their elders equally, a panoramic panoply of crows, ospreys, seagulls, and butterflies wheeling freely through the skies, turtles, bluefish, lobsters, snakes, crawling and swimming. What Gracie makes come alive in each crowning glory she sets on our heads is the age-old story of how beyond all sense of worth we are endlessly blessed upon this earth. And we see this as each and every punta, I didn't warn you, that's what those things are called. Each and every punta you knit becomes the new 8th wunda of the world, made so much a better place for the way you knit it all up. Thank you, Grace.